following show is a paid program.
The Cam Hill Show. If you'd like to advertise your business or become a sponsor, contact the Cam Hill Show at gmail.com.
How you doing? On today, we have Larry Goodwell. He is a comedian, and he's in the studio. A little bit later, we will have Kathy Cheng, and she is running for the Texas Supreme Court, Place 6. But right now, we'll be talking about the comedy business with my friend Larry Goodwell. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm excited. On tonight, you're going to be at Phil and Derek's.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 shows, 7:30 and 9.
Yes. Yes. So at Phil and Derek's, family, Larry Goodwell and Black Ron, they both will be together,
Yes.
and they will be killing it tonight. So it's tonight and tomorrow.
Yes, sir. 2 tonight and 2 tomorrow.
2 tomorrow. Wow, that's good. That's good. How did you get into the business of comedy?
Most of us start off the same way.
Yeah.
We start off as class clown. That's how I started, and it continued after school.
Yeah.
And people had always told me try stand up, and I was, I'm not doing that. I want to work a regular job. And then my best friend at the time, he passed away. My supervisor at the time told me to get a notebook and a pen, and that would be therapy. Just write stuff. Write him a letter. Just write stuff. And so that letter turned into stories, turned into jokes, thoughts, or whatever. Another buddy of mine just so happened to pick up the notebook, and he read it, and he started laughing, and he said, "Look, man, I'm taking you to an open mic next week." And that was the 4th of July, 2007, and I haven't stopped.
Wow. It resonated with you.
Absolutely. Well, I'd always, like most of us do, we used to sneak and listen to Richard Pryor albums when our parents were gone. So I always loved comedy. I just didn't know that I wanted to do it. I always thought me being funny I thought people they weren't taking me seriously. Didn't know it was a gift.
Absolutely. A gift.
But later on, I was like, you know what? I don't have anything else to do. Let me try it. And I fell in love with it. I hadn't stopped.
Wow. So many people say you have to, and we were talking about this, about leaving Houston to do the actual art, whatever it might be. If it's music, comedy, whatever it might be as an art form, they'd have to leave and then come back. How have you seen it?
I've seen it both ways. I've seen people make it from here.
Yeah.
One of my favorite comedians, Ali Sadiq, made it from here.
Yeah.
You got people who leave and make it.
Yeah.
It all depends on your situation. I left, and I still haven't made it. So, I mean, I still haven't made it. So that dispels that myth right there. But yeah, sometimes you have to leave and let other people see you out in other cities amongst famous people, and then they think, oh, he's doing something. When he comes back to town, I'm going to see him.
Absolutely.
So it works both ways.
Absolutely. Now that we talk about, and we were talking, the topic is the comedy business. A lot of times people do the comedy, but not the business part. And in that business part, they lose a lot of their money as they're shaking hands, and they think that's okay. No contracts, no anything. They'll get up there, do the work, but not get paid.
A lot of people don't look at the word network, and they think it's just about going out and shaking hands. And no, network, there's a reason why it rhymes with net worth. I mean, you got to go out there and shake hands and discuss money. If not, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to get up and tell jokes, and that's the part we love. We really don't like discussing money. It's kind of uncomfortable. But you got to do it because you got to eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, always be focused on the business part as much as you're focused on the comedy part.
We had talked a little earlier also about the fact that many people are working, and their dream is to go out and just do this full time. But you said something to me. You said something very clear, that everybody was working. See, every time we think Cedric the Entertainer, he just been Cedric the Entertainer, but he worked.
Now, Cedric was a insurance rep. He wasn't always Ced the Entertainer. He was Ced the insurance rep.
Right.
I mean, there's several stories of comedians who've been fired and then was like, you know what, I'm going to take the leap and do comedy. But I work.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to pay bills, and I need medical benefits.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with working until you get to where you need to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he's still been, what you say,
He took a long leave. He's still an employee right now as we speak.
20 years later.
20 years later, he's still.
He's still on leave. That's Sid the Entertainer. That's so funny. But in talking about that, you hit another thing on health insurance.
Gotta have it. I mean,
That's crazy.
You gotta. I mean, there's no like health insurance in comedy.
Wow.
Like, so you gotta have it. And that's why I work. I'm almost 50, so I need my benefits because I
Yeah.
might get sick one day.
Absolutely.
And these jokes ain't gonna help my copay or nothing like that.
Man,
so
and COVID is sitting out there, COVID and Corona.
and your COVID, Corona, all that. Yeah, so
Sitting out there.
you need benefits until
Yeah.
you make enough money to where you don't have to worry about that stuff. You need that stuff, and you only get that through a job. So there's nothing wrong working a job while you chasing your dream.
Right.
at all.
Right. And now you're getting ready to get on the road. How do you feel about COVID? I know we all.
Oh man,
We just don't know.
we
just don't know.
we don't know. There's no virus. There's no treatment. They're telling us one thing, telling us to do this. But one thing that we do know is those bills come every month.
They do.
And I got to get on the road and get this money to pay these bills. Or I'm not gonna be able to take calls on my cell phone.
Right.
So I'm gonna take all the necessary precautions.
Right.
I'm gonna wash my hands, distance.
Yeah.
But I have to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask everybody who's watching, pray for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Got
Absolutely.
to.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna hit the road.
But the funny part is, the crazy part for all of this is like, wow, were we that dirty before? I mean,
I never realized that touching my face was such a problem. Like I must have been that dirty to where I gotta wash my hands every 20 minutes now for 20 seconds. I usually, and then I'm done.
Exactly.
I gotta sing the happy birthday song and then I'm done. I never even thought about it. It's not my birthday, but hey, they're doctors for a reason, so we're gonna do what they say until we get this thing controlled.
But the crazy, I was talking to another guy, and it was so funny. He was saying the fact that, you know what, people are dying because we're cleaner, and then, and getting sicker because we're cleaner. We get filthy the whole time.
I never knew we were that dirty, but hey, that's what they say, so let's just wash our hands and stay 6 feet away from each other.
Absolutely.
And pray for me, because I need it.
Absolutely. You're going to be fine.
There's another comedian, I won't say his name, but he had a bunch of negative stuff. He didn't believe in Corona.
Right.
He didn't believe in it at all.
Right.
And
No mask, no nothing.
No mask, no nothing.
Yeah.
Went to a show, got it, and he's no longer with us.
Wow.
So I'm going to take it seriously.
Yeah, it
Got
is.
to.
It's serious. It's major. It's major. Voting is major now.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
we're
is.
in early voting here in Texas. So this is our first 2 weeks. I mean, we're going to do it for 2 weeks, the 13th through the 30th. And then November 3rd, of course, is the day of election.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. I made my voice heard.
Yeah,
I did that. So,
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. In doing so, in looking at tonight,
I can't wait.
is this your first time getting up there again before, like pre-COVID? Or have you done a show before?
No, I did the Addison Improv a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And comedy's even changed after COVID.
Wow.
Because before the show, they gave us our own microphones. They gave them to us
Right.
in bags. We had our own microphones.
Yeah.
They had sanitation stations throughout the club.
Uh-huh.
Everybody was 6 feet apart. It was different. It was good to get out, back out there
Right.
after, because I hadn't been on stage since March.
Right.
And
Right.
6, 7 months. And I mean, comedy is comedy. I was
Right.
a little rusty, but you work through it.
Well, I think the thing is most people want to get out and be amongst people,
Exactly.
socially. Even though it was the distance part, it's just people there. Because a lot of the comics, as well as musicians, have been trying to do things virtually.
I have to.
Yeah.
And I've heard, before I did it, I heard good and bad about the virtual thing. For myself, I'll do it. If you want to book me, I'll do it. I'll take your money. But for myself, I like to hear the laughter.
Yeah.
And when you're doing a virtual show, you feel like you're bombing because you tell a joke and you're used to hearing a big laugh afterwards. You don't hear anything and you're looking like, oh man, I'm not funny.
Right.
But you see people laughing, it's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same. I mean, I'll do it, like I'll take somebody's money. But just know it's not the same as being in front of people and
Right.
seeing them laughing.
Right.
You need to see people spitting their drink out of their mouth because of something they heard from. You need to see that as a comedian.
You need to see that as a
you can't see it on your phone.
You keep to see that.
Yeah, so
that's funny.
I mean, some of us, I'm nervous, Cam. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But I got to pay these bills.
You got
I got to pay these bills, man. That's
those
the bottom
bills
line.
are running after you.
They don't stop. They don't stop. So I'm gonna get on the road.
It's something about those bills. I mean, it's like
Every month. You just paid. I just paid y'all.
Exactly.
Y'all are right back in my mailbox. I need y'all to socially distance yourselves from me and give me a break.
That.
Yeah,
exactly.
man. They don't want to stop.
They don't want to stop.
They're not gonna do it.
They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. As far as local comics, and we were talking about going mainstream, what do you think being in Houston? Because you're here, you see how Houston is. What should they do? Even now during COVID, should they work on things? What should they do?
They should keep doing exactly what they're doing.
Right.
Because I'm going to always defend the home team.
Yeah.
I'm a Rockets fan, Texans fan, Astros fan,
Yeah.
Dynamo, U of H, Houston.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of the Houston comedy scene also. We've got one of the best, excuse me, we got one of the best scenes in America.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell all the comedians, keep doing what they're doing.
Right.
Because they're going to come. If you build it, they will come.
Right.
And we're building it now.
Yeah.
They're going to come.
Yeah. A lot of people are scared to leave.
Yeah. Because this is their comfort zone.
Yes. Yes.
Then nothing gets accomplished in your comfort zone.
Right. Right.
Nothing at all. Now, you don't have to necessarily leave
Yeah.
to make it. You have to leave your comfort zone.
Right.
Not the city, but your comfort zone.
Your comfort zone.
But all the comedians in Houston, I mean, we've got one of the best. I've done comedy in almost every major city in America. And I'll put our scene up against anybody.
Really?
Absolutely.
Is that wrong?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Now, we got some things working against us. We're spread out.
Right.
You know, everybody has a centralized location where the comedy clubs are. Ours, you know. But Houston's got one of the strongest comedy scenes in America, and I'll stand by that.
Wow. Wow. And a lot of people that, like you said, Alex Sadiq, for one person.
Ali. He's...
Shout out to him.
Oh, man, Ali's great.
Yeah.
He's great. And the funny thing is, we're the same age, so I feel uncomfortable saying I look up to him because we're the same age. But in comedy, he's like 20 years older than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's proof that you don't have to leave.
Right.
You can leave to go get a check and come back.
Yes. Yes.
So you don't have to leave. You don't. Some
That's
people
good.
do, but you don't have to.
That's good.
Especially with social media and the internet, you don't have to leave.
Absolutely. We were talking about social media, and we were talking about the fact that when you first started back in 2007, let's talk about how social media has changed.
Okay. Well, when I started, there was virtually no social media. It wasn't like it is now.
Right.
I started the old way. You know, you do your time, you do your 10,000 hours, and hopefully somebody will see you.
Right.
And
Go to
then
open
you
mics.
go to open mics,
Yeah.
and then you get booked
Yeah.
to open and then feature, and you get on the road, and you know that old way. And it still works because
Right.
I have friends who've gotten on the same way. But social media came, it really blew up in 08. It really, I just remember Twitter
Right.
and being approached with, hey, you want to do a sketch? I'm like, no, I don't want to do a sketch.
Right.
I'm a stand-up comedian. I stand up in front of people for 10, 15, 20 minutes and make them laugh.
Right.
I'm not worried about being funny for a minute,
Right.
being stubborn.
Yeah.
And then social media exploded.
Right.
And then you got people who were nobodies one day.
Yes.
And next week they were superstars. Because they
Absolutely.
had gone viral.
Yeah. That Instagram and Facebook, but that Instagram is
That
crazy.
Instagram is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's people who...
Millions of followers.
And
people.
millions of dollars.
Yes.
People are making money just on Instagram.
Wow.
So I wish I would have focused on social media more in the beginning, but I wouldn't trade it in for anything. I mean, you learn, you live and learn. So
And even local artists right now still have that opportunity being on Instagram.
absolutely,
Make sure they're on there.
absolutely. I would tell anybody if you're starting in show business, whether it's acting, comedy,
Right.
music, get your social media together. You know, get that together because you know you need that,
Especially now.
especially now.
And a lot of people just even in looking at that, as far as comedy is concerned, they get a lot of, I was talking to one guy, he gets a lot of his material off of social media after you listen. You go through it.
You can't help it. You can't help but get a lot of your material on social media. There's been times where I've posted something,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, oh no, I'll delete it. I'm like, that's too good for. I need to take this on stage. I'll
Right.
delete it and write it in my, you know,
Right.
my joke my joke pad. But social media it's changed the world. I mean, changed everything, comedy, everything. So.
And you look at the world, I'm sure, different from 2007 and 8.
Oh man,
You
yeah.
look at the world as a
heck
joke.
yeah.
You see jokes.
Sometimes they write themselves.
Right.
They write themselves. But yeah, you get a lot of material from social media. It's It's the first thing I look at in the morning.
Yeah.
It's the second thing. I look at myself in the mirror, and then I get on my phone and I see what's going on social media. So yeah, it's totally changed what we do.
Absolutely. What are people to expect tonight? From you and Black Ron.
Well, I'm going to speak for myself.
Absolutely.
I'll speak for both of us because Black Ron is my buddy.
Yeah.
That is my boy.
The Malcolm X of comedy. Comedy.
Black Ron is a genius.
Yeah.
He's a literal genius.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like his accent because he's from Dallas, but you're going to expect some laughs. You're going to expect some different political views.
Yeah.
Because we're both, we both have different views.
Different views.
Expect to laugh. Expect to spit your drink out. Expect to see somebody on stage who's relatable.
Yeah.
And just come have a good time. Make sure you wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask and wash your hands.
Yeah,
I love that.
And expect to have a good time.
I love that part about what you're saying about that. The material, and we always talk about the material that you have and the material over a period of time. How has it changed?
When I first started, I thought my job was to get on stage and shock people or wow them with my vocabulary.
Yeah.
And then one of my mentors told me, he said, man, you're not a professor. Don't get up and lecture these people. They came to laugh. So I was like, let me get rid of all these long words and write some jokes. And focus more. A lot of my materials about my father, about my family, my experiences. It's changed a lot because I've aged.
Yeah.
I first started doing comedy in 2007. It is 2020 now.
Yes. Yes.
I was 33 years old then. I'm 46. If you're still doing the same material, then I mean, lots happened in 13 years. So I've matured.
Yeah.
As a comedian and as a person.
That's
so
good.
that's why my stuff's changed.
That's good. And even in your travels, I know you've traveled around the world.
Yes, I have.
At this point. And you come back to Houston, and just come back to the world, of just being in your, habitat, just location and things. What do you see changing around the world now? Over those 13 years? Because you've seen some changes.
I've seen a lot of changes.
And I'll just say for Black people, African American people. Let's just center it around that. Let's just get straight.
Good.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of good stuff. I've seen a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff is we're becoming more aware of who we are and where we come from.
That's the good part.
What we come from. What I don't like is we put each other in boxes. You're either this or you're either this. You're Democrat, you're Republican, you're a hater, you're not a hater. No, but people are a combination of a lot of things. I'm conservative about some things, and I'm liberal about a lot of things. So, yeah, we just put people in here, this or that. No, we're Black and we're everything.
Yeah, and this George Floyd thing with racist, I mean, I love what Will Smith said about that and the fact that he was saying that it has been going on forever. It's just being filmed.
It's just being filmed. Absolutely. And I know he's going to go that deep, Cam. Oh, but you see, because whenever I hear George Floyd, I think about George, I think about Brianna, I think about Ahmaud Arbery, and then the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's people I've forgotten about.
Yes.
I mean,
I agree.
Wow.
I agree.
In 13 years, I mean, from Rodney King to George Floyd, wow.
Yeah, your Trayvon Martin's, just all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had a memorial about it here,
Yeah.
where they had the pictures of, the different ones. And it's just to know that many people that we know of.
That we only know of. You're absolutely right.
It's beyond what we know of. That has happened. But the thing about it is still going on in 2020.
Hopefully one day it'll stop. But the sad thing about that is somebody said what I just said 10 years ago, 20 years ago,
Absolutely.
50 years ago, 100 years ago.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, hopefully one day it stops.
Yeah. And even though, we're at voting. This is it. The voting is in. They've got to put some more laws, some major laws that are in place to impact and actually stand up strong laws on hate crimes.
Absolutely. I saw something where it takes you longer to become a barber than it does to become a police officer.
Yes.
Who do you think is more important?
Yeah.
shout out to my barber, but I think the police force is a little bit more important than barbers.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to look good, but I
Yeah.
also want to feel protected. And I want to feel safe.
Yeah.
So I think it should be more training.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should,
Especially diversity training.
especially diversity training.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you should walk around without a gun for a while. That shouldn't be the only way you negotiate.
Yeah.
You should be able to talk to people.
Right. Now that's a good one.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Yeah, you have to earn the right to carry a firearm around instead of being granted one the first day of work. You should earn that right.
Wow, that's good. That's good right there. That is really good. I like what you said about that because of the fact now they're running out of ammunition at all of the at the places, you know, at all the stores and stuff. People were standing in line for ammunition.
Cam,
They said they ran out.
I get up every morning and I look for. I love the Second Amendment. I'm a Texan and I love the Second Amendment. I'm armed. So I wake up and look at ammo every morning.
Yes.
And ammunition it's hard to come by. And if you do find it, it's a lot more expensive.
Now, see what you said. It's hard to come by.
Yeah, it is.
People, we don't even, the people not looking for it and stuff like that, or the people that are, it's like they had a line out there. I kept thinking to myself, what is going on? Why are they at the store? Why are they in the line?
Now,
I'm thinking it was something else, and it was for ammunition.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
But one thing I have paid attention to, there has been a severe increase in black gun ownership. That's one of the few documents that you fill out when you go buy a gun.
Yes.
You can't say, I don't want
Other.
No, you can't.
You can't say other.
No, you can't say, I refuse to.
I refuse, right.
No, it's this. You're going to check one of these boxes, or you're going to walk out without a gun.
Right.
So
your nationality, you have to put on
that.
that.
You have to.
Yeah.
There's been an increase in black gun ownership. So with that, it's ironic that that's happened, and then there's an ammo shortage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest with you. I've joined several groups on Facebook, gun owners.
Yeah.
And I took my picture down for a while. I don't want them to know I'm black.
Yeah.
They don't have an ammo shortage. They don't. They absolutely don't. As a matter of fact, I can go to a website right now and get ammo and have it delivered to me in a few days.
That is crazy. You took your picture down.
Yeah, I took it down for a minute because I don't want them to know.
Right.
And the beard might scare them.
Yeah.
Like they might think I'm something else, so they're not going to,
Right.
They don't have an ammo shortage.
That is something.
They don't. And if you follow me on social media, if you're trying to get ammo, I will direct you to the right sites.
I love it. Tell the viewers what you'd like to tell them for the last few minutes, just talking to the viewers.
All right. Number one, pray for me. I'm hitting the road. Pray I don't get COVID. Pray I do a good job tonight. And pray that this election turns out the way we all want it to turn out. And go vote.
Yes.
Go vote. I know there are a lot of people who don't want to do it. Go vote. Just go do it.
Absolutely. I love that. I appreciate you so much, Mr. Larry Goodwell.
Thank you for having me.
Comedian, Phil and Derek's tonight.
7:30 and 9.
There you go.
Shows.
2 shows, 2 days.
2 days. 7:30 and 9 tonight, 7:30 and 9 tomorrow.
Absolutely. We're out of here and we'll be back. And I will be with Kathy Cheng. Thank you, Mr. Larry Goodwell. I appreciate you, buddy.
Be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Ron Carter Cadillac, Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, delivers test drives to your home or office, like the new 2020 XT4 Luxury Collection, only $299 a month. The new 2020 XT5 Premium Luxury Collection, $399 a month. Or the first ever 2020 XT6 Premium Luxury Collection, just $499 a month. All for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase and choose 0% APR for 60 months plus $2,000 bonus cash with no payments until March 2021. Visit RonCarterCadillac.com.
I'm a Texas voter.
And I plan to vote by mail-in ballot.
I'm a Texas voter.
And I plan to vote safely in person.
I'm a Texas voter.
And I plan to vote early.
I am a Texas voter.
And I plan to vote safely in person. In this coming election, voters aged 50 plus
will make all the difference.
Will make the difference. will make the difference.
We'll make the difference.
Will make the difference in elections across the state.
So make a plan now.
So you can vote however you choose.
It doesn't matter
Where you vote,
How you vote, or who you vote for.
What matters?
what matters.
What matters?
What matters is that you have a plan to vote.
For more information,
head to
aarp.org/tx.
Vote. Vote.
vote.
Đi bầu cử.
और वोट करना मत भूलिएगा।
Vote.
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 唔該，去投票。
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Did you know that the Republican Party of Texas was formed by free slaves? Did you know that 150 black men ran the Republican Party? Did you know that Cooney Holmes is named after the first Republican chairman of Texas Republican Party? They don't teach that in schools. Why not? We have a rich history with the Republican Party. I'm Wendell Champion. Visit me at champion2020.com. I'm Wendell Champion, and I approve this message.
Hello again, Stafford. We are extremely proud of the diverse community we have in Stafford.
We need you to get out and vote for Cecil Willis.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, Attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call Attorney Willie Powles.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Hey, how you doing? This is Cam Hill. I am, Larry Goodwell. He just left, the comedian. He will be there tonight. Phil and Derek's 7:30 and 9:30. Two shows tonight and tomorrow. I believe so. Let me make sure. No, it is 7 and 9:30. Let's be sure. Phil and Derek's tonight. Right now, we're with Kathy Cheng, Texas Supreme Court, place 6. She's a candidate. Hey, lady, how you doing?
Hi, Cam.
Oh, I'm so glad we're doing this. The topic today is Texas justice system. And I love what you said. First thing, just a little bit about you. You said you're an immigrant. You're a single mom, and you believe justice is for all.
That's right, Cam. As a U.S. citizen by choice, which means I was not born in the United States. My parents immigrated to the United States, and I didn't speak a word of English. Came into the United States and learned to speak English by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. See, back in the old days, as an elementary student, you have to learn and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. So having to recite that every day, I was curious and asked my teacher, what exactly does this mean? Because after all, we're reciting every day, right? Mm-hmm. So I was told what the liberty was for freedom, justice was fairness, and for all was for everyone. So that's how I came to embrace and love this country, because this was something that I had not been affectionate about when I was in my native country, because after all, we immigrated here for that freedom and that fairness. So that was the background story about my family.
I love that. How did we get started at this point? How did you just come to know through your family as far as getting here, even becoming an attorney first?
Well, of all the countries around the world, we have, I think, 195 countries around the world.
Yes.
My parents decided to choose the United States for the very fact that, to foreigners, this is a land of opportunity, education-wise and everything else. If you could imagine it, and you have the desire to do it, you can make it possible. So when my parents chose the United States, and I had my aunt and my uncle-in-law, who was a professor in University of Wisconsin, we immigrated here first to learn to speak English with my cousins and stuff in Wisconsin. We settled in and moved down to Louisiana. That's where I grew up. Went to school, went to college, LSU, then went off to law school at South Texas College of Law, which is now South Texas College of Law, Houston, obtained my law degree. Once I obtained my law degree, I came out in private practice where I practiced complex commercial litigation, family law, tax, real estate, probate. Then I realized it hit me hard, Cam, representing people from all walks of life, of all socioeconomic status, of all ethnic, religious affiliations. It hit me hard. Justice isn't for all. And that was a sad reality for me. It was a very heartfelt reality that I acknowledge and accept. But then I realized in my position with my passion, serving the community and making sure that what I grew up learning, the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all, was not all false. I decided to get out of the comfort zone. Like the comedian Larry Goodwell says, sometimes we have to get out of that comfort zone.
Right.
While as a private practitioner, I was comfortable, and I am. But I needed to get out of that comfort zone because I know that my parents worked so hard to bring me into this country for something we would not have had in our native country. And see, Cam, I have 3 wonderful children. I have a 12-year-old daughter, Isabel. I have a 6-year-old son, London, and a 4-year-old son, Ethan. Most of the folks out there, when I travel, I take them with me on the campaign, and they know them as Search and Destroy. Yeah. But for these 3 little kids that I love, I know that I have to do more than just being in the comfort zone.
Right.
And that means to do something about it, making sure fighting for justice for all.
I love that. Why now? Why 2020 would you run for the Texas Supreme Court? And let me just be clear about what that is. I don't think we know that. I understood the Texas Supreme Court, it consists of 9 current justices. All have been Republicans, and 7 out of the 9 have been appointed by either Rick Perry or by Governor Greg Abbott.
That is correct. So for almost 25 years, this Texas Supreme Court, which is the highest civil court in the state of Texas, which hears cases like the voter rights, the employment law, personal injury cases, probate, real estate, business transactions, all of these, oil and gas stuff, if they decide to take the cases. So for 25 years, these 9 justices have been all Republicans. Now, folks, I'm not talking about their, R's or D's are better one way or the other, but this is the judicial position, which is neutral. And right now, for a long time, Texas Supreme Court has earned a reputation of being corporate friendly and friendly to their high stakeholders who are beholden to the individuals who have appointed them. And that is something that goes against everything that I've learned. It goes against everything in our teachings in our school system about the 3 branches of government. I just want to make sure that we swing that pendulum, not all the way to the left, because I am a proud Democrat. I'm not here to swing that pendulum to the left. I'm here to swing that pendulum back to the middle where it should always have been. So that Texans, when they go into any court in the state of Texas, no matter where in Texas, they can walk in and say, I'm going to get a fairness and just outcome, regardless, because those individuals up there understand the impact that they make when they make a decision, whether it's on the trial court level or the appellate court level to the highest court of the state of Texas. And that is the diversity that we're desperately lacking right now in the state of Texas, because we have 9 justices beholden to those that either appointed them or have been receiving contributions from big law firms that pretty much has a way of saying what's the outcome of the rulings. And that's not right. That's not fair for all Texans.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love the fact that you're strong enough to run now in 2020. This is a pivotal point in our lives at this point. This election is huge. Why now? This is a huge election.
This wasn't my first election. In 2018, I was the first Asian American to ever come out and run for the same position. The reason I'm running for this position again is because the incumbent, Republican incumbent in 2018 after the election, got appointed to a federal position, and this position came open again. So this is a 6-year term. Served from 2018 to 2024. But because that Republican incumbent was appointed to the federal position, seat came up, and of course, Governor Abbott went ahead and appointed my current Republican opponent into that position. Yes. So I'll be serving the remaining 4-year term once I'm elected on November 3rd. And the thing is, I ran for this position in 2018 when no one even thought about it, because it's a very red state in the state of Texas. And I have 254 counties to cover. But I realized if we're going to make a difference, we need to do some grunt work. And people say, wow, we were down the trenches. Cam, when I started this in 2018, there wasn't even a shovel around, okay? I started ground zero. And not only did I travel to 254 counties to campaign about my position, I had to educate people, because back then we had the straight ticket button where all these Republicans just pressed that one little straight ticket button, and all the R's were picked. Right. So when I went traveling around, they said, I'm sorry, Kathy, I didn't realize that judges were on the ballot because we just kept pressing that straight ticket button. Right. So this 2020, being that I was so close to winning in 2018, I knew that I had to finish what we started, because change doesn't occur overnight. The old African American saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, let's go together. Well, folks, I'm asking you, let's go together and make a difference. Let's transform the judiciary to the point where anybody, wherever, you know that when you go into a courtroom, you will have a fairness and just outcomes regardless of who it is. Because once you elect Democrats into the judiciary, you will know that those individuals have diverse lenses to see the areas of greatness that's desperately lacking right now. When people see me, they think it's the Asian American diversity, but Cam, reality is it's the diversity of lenses. I'll be the first Asian ever elected for the Texas Supreme Court. For this election cycle, we have the opportunity to elect the
about those changes?
So let's talk about this. We have so many things going on, and also earlier, comedian Larry had brought up the Black Lives Movement and so forth.
Yes.
The problem with this country is this. While we have the Civil Rights Act that enacted over 50 years ago, the reality is society thinks that just because we have the Civil Rights Act and the Voters' Protection Rights and all these laws in the system, that some of these things doesn't exist, like disparate treatment, voter suppression, implicit bias. You know what? That's the problem with our society. We need to recognize and we need to acknowledge the existence of implicit bias. And once we acknowledge and recognize that, then we need to deal with the issues instead of sweeping under the carpet. That's what has happened in transition to the Black Lives Movement. We don't want to address it because it is too sensitive. But you know what? The less we address, the longer this hate and this anger and this pain will continue. The wound has been there for so long that the longer we stay away from addressing the issues, the deeper the wounds will be. And it's going to be harder to heal. So we as a society, whether it's in the judicial branch or any governmental, need to address the existence of all these implicit bias. We could talk about reform all we want. That's just a word, a term that we put to police reform or judicial reform. We need to actually make sure we effectuate it by actions, not just by not talking about it or even talking about it and not dealing with it. Acknowledgement, recognition, those are the key things. And then addressing it and coming up with a solution.
I love that. I love what you were saying there. Also, I want to reiterate that once you would win, you have a 4-year out of the 6-year term at this point you would sit.
Correct. So once I am on the Texas Supreme Court, and here's the thing, Cam, a lot of people see me as Asian American, so they keep asking, so what are you going to do for the Asian American community? Cam, I'm not just going to do things for the Asian American community. I'm going to do this for all the community members. Because when I'm elected, irrespective if I'm a Democrat, I'm going to make sure all Texans, whether you're Democrat, independent, or Republican, that you're going to have fairness. And I'm also going to make sure that we also give the various ethnic groups, various gender groups, all of those people have the idea that there is integrity in the judicial system. Right now, across the state of Texas, Texans don't feel there's integrity. They feel like there's a huge distrust because of the system that it is in. And I also believe that once I'm in there, I will make sure that people of all ethnic groups have the opportunity, have the accessibility to the judicial system, understand the resources available, understand that if they cannot afford counsels or anything, where they need to go. There's a huge disconnect with the judicial system and the constituents. In 2018, Harris County elected 17 wonderful women of color to office. For the first time in history, we've seen the dynamics change in Harris County with respect to the reputation, the positive reputation as a result of that election in 2018. We can do that across the state of Texas when we elect women and women of color to the Texas Supreme Court, and I'll be one of them to make sure that we push that agenda along, because we need to make sure, we need to restore that integrity into the system so that our constituents, our Texans, can say, that is the judicial system that we want. That is the judicial system that we've come to study and learn about, not the current distrust that we have.
Absolutely. I love that. We have early voting at this point. October 13th it started. It's on to the 30th, and then November the 3rd is Election Day. During this time, let's talk to the viewers about why to vote.
Well, okay. First of all, let me just clarify this to all the listeners and viewers out there. This race is the entire state of Texas, a statewide race. So some of you may actually see at the polling sites, whether in Harris County or Fort Bend County or even some other counties, okay? But it is so important that we vote, not just for the presidential, because I know a lot of people go out there to vote for the presidential election. But the reality is I want to urge people, finish up that ballot, because your local candidates, you have the local candidates down the bottom of the ballot, Some of them are the sheriff. Some of them the district attorney. Some of them constable. All of those positions are important, equally important to the presidential race. Why? Because those are closest to you, right? While I want you to go in there and vote for me and everything, but I also want you to finish the ballot, go all the way down to the ballot, because these are wonderful candidates who have worked so hard. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of time to run as a candidate. So please don't take their hard time and toil for granted and finish that ballot. Because when you finish that ballot, what you're doing is not just to help these candidates, but you're doing a patriotic service to yourself and to your countrymen, because that is the civic responsibility as an American citizen. So when you go about and vote, as a Democrat, I'm gonna urge you, vote Democrat all the way. Because when you vote for Democrat, you're voting for Texans.
I love that. I love that. We were talking about changes in the Texas Supreme Court. And what do you see that you would do the first time when you get there? What things are you looking to accomplish while you're there?
Well, first thing I want to make sure is, because there's a lack of transparency right now. We want to go in there and see how they're picking the cases, where these cases are to be heard, because Texas Supreme Court is a discretionary court, meaning that they can decide whether they want to hear something or they don't. So I want to go in there and see how many of these cases and which courts, because in the state of Texas, we have 14 Court of Appeals. And whether they hear these appeals, we're not sure how they're picking these cases and what areas. So that's something that I want to, along with my colleagues, we would like to know how is it being done, and to see if it's being cherry picked, so to speak, based on who their colleagues are on the lower court levels or the issues. We want to make sure that that transparency is known to the general population, so that there is accountability and transparency for the first time in history.
Absolutely. I love that. Let's be clear and let's let the viewers know, how do you get in front of the Texas Supreme Court? How do you go up that ladder and actually get there?
So the first level is the trial court, is what you normally hear, like say for the 215th District Court. So that covers the entire county, but that's a state court. That's the trial court level.
Right.
Then everyone is entitled to one appeal if you want to appeal that case based on the results. That's the Court of Appeals. In Harris County, we have the 1st and 14th Court of Appeals. So we have 4 wonderful Democratic candidates running for that position, for those positions this election cycle. Then the losing party would file a petition to the Texas Supreme Court. At that point, the Texas Supreme Court justices would determine whether or not they would like to hear the case. If they do, then it goes before the Texas Supreme Court. If it doesn't, that case ends at the appellate level, essentially on the decision. And that's how it works. And that's why we call it a court of discretion, as opposed to a regular court like the trial court or the Court of Appeals.
That sounds great. How do people find out more about your campaign and how to get in touch with you?
Okay. Well, my campaign website is www.ChengForJustice.com. That's ChengForJustice.com. That's ChengForJustice.com. Or you could call or text me, 832-778-1542. Again, that's 832-778-1542.
Okay. That is Miss Kathy Cheng. I'm telling you, she is one of the best. Texas Supreme Court, place 6. We're talking about the Texas justice system. Hey, lady, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And October the 13th through the 30th is early voting. And November the 3rd, that Tuesday, will be Election Day.
Thank you so much, Cam. Always a pleasure.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you. On next week, we appreciate you, 12:30 to 1:30 Central Standard Time. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye.
The Cam Hill Show. If you'd like to advertise your business or become a sponsor, contact the Cam Hill Show at gmail.com.